I've had a lot of requests from people asking me how I start my seeds, like what does my setup look like? It's still way too cold for me to use my greenhouse space because it's not heated. And the cost to heat that really isn't worth it because I am quite spoiled that I have an extra kitchen on my house. We built this years ago for my mother-in-law when she lived with us, and after she passed, we weren't sure what we were going to do with it. But mom was an avid gardener, so she would probably be very, very happy to know that I'm using her kitchen to start seedlings. It works out very, very well that I have these countertops, I have a sink, I have plenty of space, so this is my spot. So underneath the cabinets, I mounted some chains up underneath of here so that I could put my lights in place. I just have some lightweight, I'll show you. I just have some lightweight chain here that holds them in place. Lots of zip ties, and I can kind of make anything work with zip ties. So I have some LED lights that I put in. I switched to LED years ago, so I don't have to have those fluorescent light fixtures that are really bulky. These are really lightweight. I love using trash, so I just took old mini blind rails and I zip tied my lights to it, and it works great. So I keep all of my things in 10-20 trays. The things that are the oldest, the most mature that I started several weeks ago are right here. This is the banana peppers, and I have some cabbage and broccoli that are really anxious to go out. I'd love to move them out, but we're not ready yet. So, and then moving down, I have some onion sets in here, scallions, kale, some dill that's coming up and doing really, really well. And then this set is all herbs. Herbs are a little slow growing, so I started them early. I have basil, thyme, oregano. I have some celery coming in, some eggplant, some more peppers I need to pot up yet, and some cilantro. And then we move down to the trays that haven't actually produced much yet. Now you'll notice that this particular section has a heat mat underneath of it, and some things like to germinate with heat and with light, and lavender is one of them. So the lavender is in this tray, and it likes light and heat. That's rare. Not very many plants like that. Most are perfectly content just being on a heat mat like this one at the end, and it sits here near the light. It won't hurt it to have the light, but it doesn't need it until it germinates. So most of the things I start on heat mats, and when they pop up and they're green, I generally take them off the heat mats and I move them to an open tray. I have one more section over here. I just started these today. I have rows of zinnia, delphinium, cosmos, lupine, all the things that I want to put in my cut flower garden. So they're over here on their own, and they are on heat mats as well. So I have 3 trays going with heat mats right now. I just started some ranunculus corms right here, and then in addition to all the seeds that I've started over here. Okay, so what happens when all of these small plugs have to be potted up and they all have to go into, I'm only going to get 18 per tray with the size of the pots that I make. How in the world am I going to fit them all? Well, I have heated floors in this kitchen too, so I will expand my lights if need be and put them on the floors. I also have southern exposure in a large window over here behind me. I will put trays in that bench by the window, and we'll just fill this up with plants until it's safe enough to move out. Hopefully we can get to the point where I am warm enough in the greenhouse that we can move everything into the greenhouse. We'll just have to wait and see how that goes. But that's my setup.